Hello, what's up? I'm Flames, and this is the MUTFocus podcast. Today is Tuesday, August 27th, 2019. To start things off, some of you may know me, some of you don't. Some of you see me around Twitch streams, mainly Popular Stranger and Big Kep. And I'm also on Twitter a bit. I try and stay active on there. As far as MUT goes, I'm a veteran. I've been playing since Madden 11. MUT's been a big part of my life for quite a long time. It's always just helped me escape from issues I'm having in real life. And it's just a game I really have enjoyed playing over the years. And quite honestly, I don't know when I'll ever stop. As far as Madden itself goes, I've been playing ever since I was a kid. My first Madden was, I think, Madden 06. And yeah, I've been playing ever since. And I've been watching football since even before then, even since I was a kid, as far as I can remember. Like maybe 4 or 5 years old. My family raised me as a proud fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. We went through lots of ups and downs, but I was finally happy to see us win a Super Bowl title. And we're in a good spot now to win another one. Would not surprise me at all. So I've been planning this podcast for quite a while now. It's something that I just never really got around to, but now I'm decided to finally give it a go. See how it goes. And if things work out well for me, then it'll become a thing. We'll just have to wait and see. As far as plans go for this podcast, I plan to do it every week or every other week, usually on a Monday or Tuesday. Not fully sure about that just yet. Again, I'm just trying this thing out first to see if it can become an actual thing for me, which I hope it can. What I want to do on here is review promos and programs that come out in MUT. I want to talk about the market, give some lineup tips on certain positions and abilities and all training and all that, power-ups. I see myself previewing promos that we know that are coming, speculating about promos that we don't know are coming yet, but seem inevitable. Also gameplay stuff too, as far as weekend league, seasons, house rules, and also sometimes when we get gameplay updates. I'd like to go over stuff like that, talk about what broke the game this time, what did EA do this time, and maybe even sometimes give some NFL news, talk about some big games maybe. You know, I don't have a huge idea of what this thing is going to be just yet, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll go from there. So let's get started by reviewing some of the content we've gotten over the past week. Last Monday, we got flashbacks, Gerald McCoy, and Derrick Henry. Taking a look at Gerald McCoy's stats: 64 speed, 80 block sheds, 78 pursuit, 87 tackle, 80 hit power, 78 power move, and 66 finesse move. Just a couple of his main stats. Overall, this card doesn't look too great. He's slow. He only has 78 power move and 66 finesse. So you would think his block shed's really good, but it's only 80. And for an 87 overall card, I believe, 87 overall, that's just not very good. The 86 strength is nice, but this card just isn't very special at all. He's going for around 78k right now. That's just not worth it at all. So moving on to Derrick Henry. This card's pretty solid. 84 speed, 79 agility, 82 truck, 79 juke, 79 break tackle. Yeah, this card's pretty solid, a pretty solid power back. But one thing I did research about this card is that he cannot get armbar. I don't think he can get really many good abilities at all. So that's one thing to keep aware of this card. And he also doesn't have a power up just yet. So because of all that, I would stay away from this card for now, just based off his price. And then on Tuesday, we got house rules. It was loss of down, which basically meant you only had 3 downs instead of 4 downs. So you would have to punt the ball at 3rd down, or else it would be a turnover on 3rd down. And instead of 10 yards, you would have to get 20 yards for the first down. Also, defensive touchdowns were worth 15 points. So if you got a pick 6 or fumble 6, that might have been it. A lot of people would quit after that. You had to get 12 wins, which gave you a Theme Diamond component pack, which basically was a fantasy pack that you could pick the top component from any Theme Diamond set. So there were 86s, 87s, some really low overalls that were useless, but the main 3, in my opinion, if you weren't going for any of the sets, were Pat Mahomes, I believe Jalen Ramsey, and Von Miller. Those were the main 3 that people went after. Me, myself, I picked Jalen Ramsey when I got my 12 wins. And as far as how I did, on the first day I went 12-2. Felt pretty good about myself. But then on the second day, I was going for more wins and more trophies, just for 18 wins. And I went 6-4 that day. It didn't go very well. But it is what it is. I got my card, I got my trophies. On Wednesday, we got new heavyweights. We got an 86 overall Cameron Hayward, defensive end from the Pittsburgh Steelers. 67 speed, 75 excel, 88 strength, 84 tackle, 90 play rec, 83 block shed, 85 power move, and 60 finesse move. This card isn't too bad. The 83 block shed along with 85 power move is pretty nice, along with 88 strength, which is all nice, but 67 speed. If you're running a 4-3 and you want that guy on the edge, he's just not going to get to the quarterback with that 67 speed. If you're running a 3-4 and he's inside, yeah, he probably will play well for you. But scheme-wise, he's a pretty one-dimensional card. But if you are running a 3-4, he wouldn't be bad for you, still at this point in the game. And moving on to Rodney Hudson, a center from the Oakland Raiders. This card has 56 speed, 85 strength, 77 run block, and 87 pass block, along with an 83 impact block. This is one of those one-dimensional offensive linemen that you kind of want to stay away from because that 77 run block is just pretty bad. He does have good pass block at 87, but there are better offensive linemen out there with a more balanced set of stats. So overall, this card just is not worth the price. On Thursday, we got two new signature cards, 90 overalls. First one being Desmond Trufant, cornerback from the Atlanta Falcons. That's right, the Falcons, not the Falcons. He's 6 foot tall, has 87 speed, 88 excel, 91 agility, 87 jump, 86 play rec, 89 man, 88 zone, and 88 press. What stands out about this card is his agility. Makes him one of the best corners in the game right now. But one thing I do want to point out, I told this to a few other people, is that for around 600k less, you can get yourself a Willie Brown legend card, and his stats are pretty close. I mean, one of the biggest differences is that agility. He doesn't have that elite agility that Desmond Trufant has, but he still has 85 agility, which is 6 off of Trufant's. And as far as speed go, they're both the same at 87, unless you would proud Trufant to 91, which would likely give him 88 speed. But just looking at their coverage stats, Willie Brown is a +1 to man and zone. He has 90 and 89. So Willie Brown's better in coverage. Just overall, I think I would stay away from the Trufant because Willie Brown is a much better deal, since Trufant is a limited time and it's still probably around 1 million coins. So just a heads up if you're looking to get that Trufant. Unless you're like my man Blunts, who's a Falcons fan, I would stay away from this card. The other signature we got is 90 overall Devontae Adams, wide receiver from the Green Bay Packers. And my buddy Pack isn't going to like this, but this card is just not that special. Only has 84 speed, 87 excel, 85 agility, 87 catch, 89 catch in traffic, which is really nice, 87 spec, and really good route running stats as well, 87 short, 86 mid, and 85 deep. So as you can see, really good catching stats. He'll make a lot of catches for you. But the thing that makes this card just not the very special is the 84 speed, as well as his height being 6'1". He's not that tall, average height, but just not as tall as some other type of receivers. And you would hope that the speed would make up for that, but it only being 84, his MUT card's just never as good as he actually is in real life. His price has gone down to about 400k right now, but still, I just don't think that's worth it, even at that cheap price, unlike Trufant, who's still around 1 million coins. But if you're a Packers fan and really want to go after this guy, go ahead and knock yourself out. Also on Thursday, we had Weekend League, the infamous Weekend League. Of course, it went from Thursday to Sunday. And as far as how I did, I played okay. I was 6-3 after Thursday, I was 10-7 after Friday, and at one point on Sunday, I took the day off on Saturday, at one point on Sunday I was 14-7, and I was feeling good. I thought I'd be able to get 16 wins, maybe even 17, but I finished 15-10. I lost my final 3 games, and was unable to get the 16 wins needed for, I believe, All-Star tier, or that maybe the 13 win tier, I'm not sure. But yeah, I could have played better. I could have played worse. Overall, it went okay. Some trends I noticed through Weekend League. No surprises. Pinch buck go and man coverage just dominated. I'd say 20% of my offensive snaps were against zone coverage. That's how bad it is. With how overpowered man is, this is what everyone's running, especially pinch buck go. And a lot of cover 2 man as well. Because those deep blue safeties as well as the man coverage can just prove to be really overpowered against post routes. And just picks them off half the time. It's really frustrating at times. But as far as facing offensive go, a lot of people were running the ball. A lot of people running bunch, like every year. but it was more varied. There was obviously more of a noticeable meta on defense with Pinch Bucko and Man, which I hope does eventually get toned down with a patch. Man is just way too overpowered right now to make the game enjoyable. At sometimes it just makes the game frustrating to play. But yeah, I'll be giving Weekend League another go this week, and we'll see how we do. I believe I need 17 wins to get the 45 win total needed for the top monthly tier. And that doesn't seem likely right now. But who knows? We'll see. That was about Thursday. So moving on to Friday, we were teased with an image related to the number 10 and the fact that it's 10 years of MUT. So we knew something big was coming, but we weren't sure exactly what was coming. And it turned out that it's a new program lasting 10 weeks, giving us a limited time legend of guys that have transcended MUT over the past 10 years. This first week highlighted Madden 15. You can see on his card art it says Madden 15, and it was Bo Jackson, the ever so glitchy Bo Jackson. And this card is no joke at all. 90 speed, 89 excel, 88 agility, 89 carry, 58 catching is his own low point, but 87 elusiveness, 91 truck, and 89 break tackle. I believe he has 84 juke move. I may be wrong on that. But this card is just an all-around monster. He can do everything. He can juke you, he can truck you. But as far as abilities go, because of his archetype being a power back, he can only get trucking abilities such as Bruiser and Bulldozer. So he doesn't have the glitchiness that Tariq Cohen, Clinton Portis, Marcus Allen can get. Those elusive archetype backs that can get elusive and jukebox, which are just as glitchy as Bulldozer, just in a different way. As well as getting one of these limited times every Friday for the next 10 weeks, we also get an ultimate challenge giving us the ability to get their power up, which in Bo Jackson's case can get up to 89 overall. I really like that because it gives us the ability to get the card, and although it's not the full on 91, 92, 93 overall, it's pretty close. A few overalls less for a way cheaper price. And just overall being able to upgrade these cards to a certain overall without even throwing a card in just makes it a really good value. Obviously you have to pay a lot for that training, but compared to actually buying the card, it's a really, really good value. The only downside, obviously, is that you only get half that training back if you decide to downgrade the card. So make sure you do want that card for a long while. And a good compromise is to maybe upgrade the card to 85, 86. That way you're not spending the full training, and if he's good at that, then you know he'd be even better once you upgrade him to that higher rating. But something to keep in mind with these power-ups is like the limited time legend power-ups, the challenge is only available for that weekend. So not only can you only get that power-up for that weekend, but also keep in mind that another part of this whole program is that if you do all 10 solos to get these 10 power-ups, you also with the solo get a collectible which can go into a set in 10 weeks that will give you the ability to pick any 10 of these players that released as a nat. So that is probably the best part about this program. Without it, the program probably would have been an L to me, but that alone makes this promo a W. So make sure to play all 10 of these solos, even if it's a card you don't want, because you're really going to regret it if you don't. And here's a pretty big tip for all you guys. As Z Farls would call it, pro tip! Something that I've noticed, a lot of people have noticed, is that with some of these legend power-ups, like John Randall and I believe Dan Dierdorf, when these power-ups went out of the solo and you can no longer get them, their prices shot up in the market because you can no longer obtain them. Like, it's impossible, I believe, until after Series 1 ends. After Series 1 ends, they'll be added into packs. But until then, you can't obtain these cards. So the demand for these cards are going to go up if they're a name like Bo Jackson, Michael Vick, Randy Moss. So something I did with Bo Jackson is, to be a little safe, I invested in 20 of these cards, of these power-up cards, for about 5K each. And as I'm recording this right now, they are up to 10K. And they're probably going to go up even more. Like, if they go up as high as John Randall did, who's 34K right now, last I checked, like, that's a really good investment that I think you guys should look into. Now, I didn't originate this idea. It is something I saw multiple other people saying, like Ryan915. Shout out to him. But this is something that I thought of before I watched that video. So that's something you just want to be aware about. But I want to warn you, maybe if too many people jump on this, it may not be effective a few weeks from now. I don't know. We'll see. But what would happen is the supply of the card will be too high. Too many people would invest. And people would just wait for the card to sell for too long. It would never go up in price, and it would just stay the same. So that's my little investment tip on these MUT 10 power-ups that we get every week. Just something to keep aware about. The following day, we got 2 new legends, and because of the MUT 10 program, for the next 10 weeks, those cards will be replacing what we had, the Legend Limited Time, as the third card. So we do only get 2 legends for the next 10 weeks, but it's not as a big deal as people were making it seem. Since we do get the Limited Time on Friday instead of Saturday, it's still an upgrade to what we had before. The 2 legends we got were Ted Hendricks, left outside linebacker from the Oakland Raiders, 81 speed, 83 excel, 82 strength, 87 tackle, 89 play rec, 88 block shed, 79 power move, 72 finesse move. This card, really underwhelming. I mean, obviously the 6'7 stands out, but as a user that would be nice, but with that 81 speed, it's just not going to be that great of a user. You would think with that height he'd be good, but he's just too slow, and I'm sure his agility isn't that great either. So you're thinking maybe he's a good pass rusher. Well, only 79 power move and 72 finesse move. That's not great at all for 90 overall. If anything, he'll just be a good run stopper. But you don't want to be sending that much coins for just a run-stopping linebacker who's a slow user and can't rush the passer. In years past, it's a shame. In years past, Ted Hendricks had great cards. He had high speed. At 90 overall, his speed would be like 86, 87. And with that 6'7" height, he would just be unstoppable as a user. And not only that, but he would have good pass rushing too. Like as a 90 overall, he would have like 85, 86 power move at least. So he could just do everything. But at this point, in MUT 20, this card's just super underwhelming. And it's kind of disappointing. So I would definitely stay away from this card. Unless you're a Raiders fan, unless you got a Raiders theme team. He would be really nice on Raiders theme teams in the future, but this card is super disappointing. The other guy we got was Anthony Munoz, left tackle, played for the Cincinnati Bengals. And he has 87 strength, 87 awareness, 90 pass block, and 88 run block. He's a left tackle who's really solid. That's all he really is. Nothing exciting, obviously, but he's a solid offensive lineman. His power-up is probably really nice. He's more on the pass blocking side. I'm more on the run blocking side, so I'm not interested in the card, but definitely is a solid left tackle. Again, you don't have to pay the full price for this card. His power-up, if you get him to 88 overall, is probably pretty solid. So, Anthony Munoz, not very exciting, but pretty solid card. We didn't get anything on Sunday, but then the following Monday, we got 2 new flashbacks, both 88 overall this time. The past few weeks we'll be getting an 86 and an 87. So they're stepping up their game a little bit with these flashbacks. Let's see if they do the same with heavyweights and veterans. But 2 guys we got, Deshaun Jackson, my guy from the Philadelphia Eagles. One of my favorite players. For some weird reason, he's in a Redskins uniform. He has Redskins chemistry on his base card. I mean, who cares about the Redskins? They're just a bunch of racists anyways. But nonetheless, you can power up this card from his power-up. Throw in this card, you'd be 89 overall, and he would have Eagles chem. You can also get Buccaneers chem on him. But his base card is looking like this: 87 speed, 81 jump, 87 catch, 80 catch in traffic, 83 spec, 80 short round running, 83 mid, and 88 deep. A really, really solid looking card. Not the greatest possession receiver with that 80 catch in traffic and 83 spec, but that's not what his game is. He's a speedster. He runs routes solid, especially those deep routes. He won't drop many passes for you. This is a really, really good card. One of the best flashbacks we've gotten, if not the best flashback we've gotten yet. Personally, I really want to get him really badly, but right now I have 3 Nat receivers, Torrey Holt, Michael Thomas, and my Nat Odell Beckham that I got from House Rules, the first House Rules. So I'm stuck in a pretty tough situation. I would have to quick sell one of the 3 receivers, and Odell being where he's at right now, it wouldn't be that much of an upgrade to Deshaun Jackson over Odell Beckham. So I may just have to wait until Deshaun's next upgrade to pick him up. The other card we got, 88 overall quarterback, Joe Hayden, who played on the Cleveland Browns, being featured on this card, currently on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe that's the only teams he played for. And I'm not sure if he has a power-up right now, but I'm sure he'll get one in the future if he doesn't. He is 5'11", 83 speed, 85 excel, 85 agility, 88 jump, 90 play rec, 86 man, 84 zone, and 88 press. Overall, really solid corner. I mean, not the best, obviously, but still pretty good. I mean, he could be better for an 88 overall card. For his price, he may not be the best card, the best option for a cornerback, but still a solid card. Can't complain too much compared to some of the other flashbacks we've gotten so far. One of the better flashbacks we've gotten. Really solid card. So next I thought I'd talk about my team and how my lineup is right now, because maybe these are some of the cards that you may want to pick up for your team. If this is something you really don't care about, you could obviously fast forward through, but it's something I thought I'd talk about maybe to be a feature in the future episodes, or maybe not. Just briefly going over some of these cards I got. At quarterback, 90 overall, superstar Patrick Mahomes. No complaints about him, makes all the throws. Does occasionally miss a throw or two, but overall, really solid card. I'm happy with how he plays. At halfback, he may have been a Redskin, but he was also a Bronco. Clinton Portis. Theme Diamond power up to 89 overall. He plays great. He misses a lot of tackles. He makes a lot of jukes. I got no complaints about him. He's great. And then the second back in my 1-2 punch, Tariq Cohen, the glitch himself, powered up at 87 overall. He plays great. He plays probably better than Clinton Portis. The only reason he hasn't played as much as Clinton Portis and isn't the starter is he does have fumbling issues with his low carrying, but he's really good. If you don't have him right now, I suggest pick him up, even to throw him in every now and then. He just makes so many guys miss with his jukebox. I've had so many runs where I juke like 3 or 4 guys in one play, where Clinton Portis, although he's still great, doesn't do as much as Tariq Cohen does. But they're both great halfbacks. Take a look at them if you're in need of a elusive halfback. The 3 wide receivers I got are 88 Journey Michael Thomas, 90 overall Torrey Holt, and Nat Odell Beckham Mutt Superstar, 89 overall. They all play great. Thomas is my go-to possession receiver. He's slow, but he catches everything. Torrey Holt is my slot receiver. He catches anything that's not in traffic. He never drops a pass. He even makes some catches in traffic sometimes. And this Holt card has agged me several times. I mean, he's obviously the best receiver in the game right now. But his specialty is speed out of the slot. I also have Route Apprentice on him, which gives him the ability to get a really nice post and crossing route. I didn't think it'd be worth it at first, but the ability is definitely worth the training. Go out and get it, put it on a receiver. It is worth it. It's a game changer, for sure. And then at wide receiver 2, I got my Odell Nat Mutt Superstar card that I pulled from House Rules. He's a mix of both Holt and Michael Thomas. Not the tallest guy, but catches everything. He's fast enough. He makes nice juke moves. Really solid card. He's the receiver I throw to least in my 3, but he still plays really well for me. And if he didn't, I would go pick up that Deshaun Jackson. But because he plays so well, I can't make the move, unfortunately for me. Fullback isn't important, but it's right now I have 81 overall Anthony Sherman. And I want to quickly let you know that on my Twitter, I recently posted a screenshot of the lineup I'm looking at right now, my up-to-date lineup, in case you missed any of these players and want to see who they are. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at FlamesMutt. On my offensive line, I have 88 overall Joe Staley, 88 overall power Bruce Matthews, 87 overall Alex Mack, 85 overall David DeCastro, and 85 overall Mitchell Schwartz. My center, left guard, and left tackle have a specialty in run blocking because I commonly run to that side. And then my right guard and right tackle are more pass blockers because I do like to roll out to that side on occasion. And if the left side does happen to collapse, I can rely on the right side to be more secure than the left side. It's a good strategy you can do if you have a right-handed quarterback, or if you have a left-handed quarterback, you could do vice versa. And lastly, on the offense, I have tight ends, 87 overall power-up George Kittle, and 83 overall Delaney Walker. They're both great run blockers, but Kittle is the guy I throw to more, obviously being my tight end 1. He catches mostly everything, though I don't throw to him too much. Based on my offense right now, I mainly throw my receivers, and tight ends are there just as run blockers mainly. But Kittle, with his speed and his catching, his blocking, is probably the best tight end in the game right now. If you don't have him, I recommend him. Moving on to defense, I'm going to start with defensive line. I have 89 overall Aaron Donald, who plays inside for me at defensive tackle in most formations. He's overall been the most disappointing defensive lineman that I've used so far. He'll have a few sacks in a game or two, but most games he doesn't do much. And the only reason he's still on my team powered up is because I actually pulled him as a Nat in with a 3 gold Nat pack out of the NFL Epic Solos. So he's just on my team. He's just stuck on there. I've heard good things about him from other people, so maybe he'll be better for you, but for me, he's just been a little disappointing. And then at right end 2, who plays on right end for me, is 87 overall power-up Myles Garrett, who plays really well. A little inconsistent. He'll have a game or two where he won't do anything, then the next game he'll get like 1 or 2 sacks. But for what he is, compared to some of the other players right now, he's really solid for his value. You can grind him through the Team Diamond solos, and he's just really, really solid. My two defensive tackles, 88 overall Fletcher Cox, power up, and 87 overall power up Kawan Short. Neither of them see the field for me, which is a shame because Fletcher Cox is one of my favorite players. But even if I did want to play him, his block shot is just too low to even play him compared to Aaron Donald and my other guy defensive tackles who I would get to. So yeah, neither defensive tackle see the field for me. And then at left end, I have full legend power up Reggie White, 91 overall. And he plays really good as he can at defensive tackles. Defensive tackles don't seem to be as good as defensive ends. It's been like that for years, and it still is like that. But for where he's at, he plays really good. I've heard a lot of good things of him coming off the edge, but his speed is just a little too low for me to be on the edge right now. Based on his speed, his strength, and his power move and all that, he just fits best at defensive tackle for me right now. And that could, of course, change, but that's where he's at right now. And at backup left end, who also starts at left outside linebacker for me and plays left end, is DeMarcus Lawrence, 89 overall, Mutt Superstars card. So I know what you're probably thinking. Flames, how could you have a Dallas Cowboy on your team, especially when it's the guy who has never had a sack against Lane Johnson, who has 0 sacks against him? How could he be on my team? Well, I pulled him out of the Superstar solos you got from, I believe, 125 stars. And when I pulled him, I was disappointed. I wanted to quick sell him. I know Kep pulled him and he quick sold him right away, but I looked at this card and I couldn't quick sell him. His stats are too ridiculous. I believe he has 92 power move, and he has the glitchiest abilities you can get at defensive end. And I'm going to say right now, he has been my defensive MVP, as sad as it may be. He's just a monster. He gets at least a sack a game. Some games he gets 2 to 3 sacks. He has won me games in weekend league and house rules. And again, it pains me because I can't get rid of him. But I do have no intentions of powering this card up. I do have no intentions of getting his next upgrade, whenever that may be, unless I happen to pull him out of another Nat pack. But unfortunately, I see him being on my team for quite a while because he plays unreal, man. He is seriously unreal. He's a glitch. Going over my linebackers right now, right outside linebacker, I have Derek Brooks, 88 overall power up right now, chemmed up to 89 overall. He doesn't see the field for me too often. I rarely play 4-3, which is the only spot he really plays, and he hasn't done that much. But that's just because 4-3 linebackers this year just seem really underwhelming this year so far. They're super slow. They have super low zone coverage. Like this Derek Brooks, he was a ball hawk, but he only has 82 zone for me right now. Even with lockdown and my Madden coach boost, it's pretty disappointing that I don't get to play him that much just because he's super slow. And then at middle linebacker, I have Mutt captain Ryan Shazier, who's come up to 91 overall right now. He plays great. He's a great user, great coverage linebacker. If you pick someone else as your Mutt captain, I think you're losing out a bit. I mean, obviously Herman Moore is good. Ty Law is good, but I think Shazier is the guy you have to go with right now. If you're starting out and thinking, who should I pick as my captain, you got to take Shazier. He's really, really good. At left outside linebacker, like I said, right now I'm starting DeMarcus Lawrence there. He never sees the field as a left outside linebacker, only as defensive end. But right now he starts at left outside linebacker for me, just for overall purposes. And then left outside linebacker at backup is the guy who commonly plays more, and that's Anthony Barr, who's a really solid user. Can't complain about him as a user. A little slow, but 6'5" makes up for it. Now my DBs, at free safety 1, I have Earl Thomas, 88 overall. Little slow, but makes up for it with his coverage. He makes a lot of picks for me, a lot of clutch picks too. He's been really clutch for me in late games. He's really good. And at strong safety, I have Adrian Amos, powered up to 87, counted up to 88. He's up and down. He's had really good games for me. Other games, he dropped a wide open pick 6 for me a few times. I mean, that's super disappointing. But overall, he's really good run stopper. He's fast, good in coverage. Probably the best strong safety right now in the game, other than probably Ken Houston. And speaking of Ken Houston, right now I have at strong safety 2, who's usually my user. Sometimes I let him alone and user Ryan Shazier, but I have Ken Houston powered up to 86 overall, chemmed up to 87. And overall as a user, he's just really good as he can be with how usering is in this game. It's obviously a big issue, getting animations, yet the receiver still catches the ball. But for what he is, for what he can for what he can be, he plays solid. His speed and 6'3" frame is definitely noticeable out there. And then lastly at cornerback, I have 90 overall, Theme Diamond powered up, Charles Tillman, can up to 90 overall. Plays really well. He's a little inconsistent, but that's how it feels with most corners in this game so far, with how bad zones are. But he plays really well. My best corner, though, so far has probably been Darius Slay, powered up to 87 overall, counted up to 88. He plays really well, really fast when he catches the ball. Usually can't be caught. He's had multiple pick sixes for me. He's been really, really solid. He was quiet at first, but then he really started to pick it up for me. He's been my best corner. And then at slot corner, I had him for a bit, then I got rid of him, but then I got him again from the House Rules Theme Diamond component pack. Jalen Ramsey, powered up to 88 overall. He's been solid. A little inconsistent like Tillman, but he's made some nice plays for me, and I can't complain too much about him. He hasn't really done anything bad. So look at my whole team as a whole. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now, at 88 overall. There's upgrades I still can make, obviously, but I kind of want to hold on my coins until we get a big promo, like probably Mutt Heroes. So yeah, that's a brief look at my team right now. Again, you can see my team as a screenshot. I tweeted it recently on my Twitter, so you can go ahead and look at my full lineup in case you missed something. Most of these guys are great players, and I recommend them for you to pick up. Give them a try yourself, because they all play pretty solid, except for a few. But there's always a chance they play different for you. We're starting to wrap up this first episode of the MUTFocus podcast. It's gone on a little longer than I thought it would, but that's not bad. If you think maybe I should shorten it in the future, then let me know. Feedback is definitely appreciated. One of the last things I want to talk about is future content. We don't know much that's coming in the future right now other than heavyweights and veterans. And who those players could be, we really have no idea of really knowing right now. But we do know they're coming, and that heavyweights are probably going to be 88 overall based on that flashbacks were 88 overall. We'll see if they'll both be 88 overall, if there will be 187. And veterans, you got to think maybe they'll go up to 85 overall. But bigger than that is obviously that we'll be getting 2 more signature cards coming this Thursday. It's hard to predict what they'll be. I'm thinking maybe on defense we'll get maybe a linebacker or a defensive lineman, since we haven't gotten one yet so far. And on offense we could get a quarterback. We've gotten a wide receiver and a halfback so far, so maybe we'll get a quarterback or a tight end or maybe even an offensive lineman. That would be a little disappointing, but we'll see what we get with that. And then on Friday, MUT 10. I think we'll get a defensive player this time since we got an offensive player last week. So some predictions I have written down on defensive line. We could get Mean Joe Green, defensive tackle from the Steelers, who has been in a lot of MUTs. He's always been a favorite at defensive tackle. At linebacker, we could get Ray Lewis, who is a pretty obvious choice at linebacker. I would be surprised if he's not. And then another obvious choice, a cornerback, is Deion Sanders. That obviously would be a really, really glitchy card. I can't see how they don't give us Deion. And then at safety, 2 guys that come to mind, maybe even a third, Sean Taylor, Brian Dawkins, or Ronnie Lott. Those would all be great choices. Me personally, I'm hoping for a Brian Dawkins, being that he's one of my favorite players of all time to watch, and that I have him in MUT every single year. But those are just some predictions. I'm pretty sure we'll be getting a defensive player. I'd be kind of surprised if we didn't. So all those players listed, I don't think any of those would be disappointing at all. And then 2 more legends will be coming on Saturday. I don't know who we're getting. I mean, it's hard to predict the exact positions, but I could see us maybe getting a wide receiver. And we're still pretty thin on safety, so I could see us getting a free safety or a strong safety. I don't know who those guys would be, so we'll have to wait and see. So that's what we know is definitely coming this week. But then Friday, I want to throw it out there that we could highly possibly be getting MUT Heroes. It would be the 3rd straight year in a row we've gotten MUT Heroes. And it's always a promo that just crashes the market. It almost breaks the game because they're all players that have a specialty in 1 rating that just ends up making the card really, really glitchy. Most of them are really, really solid cards that make a lot of teams. While it is a possibility, I also wouldn't be surprised if it's not coming this Friday, because everyone should know by now that on the monthly rewards, it said that in the Fire Fantasy Pack for one of the top ranks, I think maybe the top 1 or top 1 and top 5 or something, it listed MUT Hero as one of the cards that you get. But that's recently been changed. Kralo tweeted out the updated monthly rewards after they had a mess up with a suspended week, and that MUT Hero is not listed on those rewards anymore, so maybe that's an indication that we may not be getting MUT Heroes until next month. But that could be wrong too. We may actually end up getting it this Friday. Who knows? But I would say it's coming in the next 1, 2, 3 weeks. It's coming soon. Sooner than you may think. Maybe even really sooner than we may think if it's coming this Friday, indeed. And again, Mud Heroes will just be amazing for us. Because although Theme Diamonds was really great, it was a little slightly disappointing than I thought it would be. Really only a handful of really good cards, like Portis, Seahorn, Tillman, and a few others. And plus Mud Heroes would give us challenges to play. It would give us many sets to give us coin making opportunities. I could see there being a training option in the store, which we could re-roll to possibly make profit out of that. I could just see this being a really, really big profit-making promo. And not only that, but of course us getting so many great cards. It'll be interesting to see how they set it up this year. Obviously there were some changes after year 2 compared to the first year of it. They added more. We'll see if they remove some stuff from the second year or if they keep all the stuff they had in the second year and add more here in the third year of it. But we know for sure that it's coming. And since it's coming, a good idea to do is maybe invest in some of the power-ups of these players that you think may come out, because some of them will be really high priced. If it's at a popular player or a position that we need really badly. There's still so many players that need upgrades that just have their core elite right now, so there's endless possibilities for some of these positions. But 2 players that I am pretty confident are getting a card in this promo are Jadeveon Clowney, a red outside linebacker. That card is just going to break the game. Because if you put him on the opposite side of LT, that's just going to be really, really hard to stop. And there's something about Clowney every year that he just surpasses his stats and plays as probably the second best edge rusher in the game. And then for the second guy, at strong safety, they maybe could put in a guy who excels in zone coverage being his superpower. And one of the best coverage safeties in the league is Malcolm Jenkins. That's right, Malcolm Jenkins. Not Malcolm, Malcolm. But he would be a little slow, considering that his core elite card right now is like in the high 70s, I think. But still, that zone coverage would make up for it. His speed would still probably be in like the low, mid-80s. It would be doable at this point of the game when Mud Heroes releases. And again, that's just a likely option I see happening. Malcolm Jenkins along with Jadeveon Clowney. Those are just 2 predictions I have. And again, there's lots of players that could get cards for Mud Heroes. So it's really endless of what you could think of. And when we get closer to possibly this Friday, or maybe next Friday if we don't get it this Friday, I may put up like a full list of like every single position. I may tweet that out. So keep your eye out for that. Players that you can invest in their power-ups for. And other than that, something I'm pretty sure I know we'll be getting probably next Tuesday after the preseason ends is preseason team of the week, which will usually get the best players from the 4 weeks of preseason. And it's really, really hard to guess who's going to get the cards because there's so many standouts from the 4 weeks of preseason. But I'm really hoping that my guy Trace McSorley gets a card. Me being a big Penn State fan, I just watched him light the Eagles up on last Thursday. It was tough to watch, but he balled out. And I really hope he gets a card. And the last thing I could see probably coming is maybe something like a MUT kickoff promo like we got last year, which would have a similar format to the MUT Superstars promo, something that we didn't really see coming this early in the year. But ultimately, it's hard to really guess the whole format of that promo. How it's gonna be. It could be like last year, but it could be different. And as far as the players go, it could be anyone. Like Mud Heroes, the options are endless. There's still so many players that need upgrades, and it's always like that in the beginning of the year. As the year progressively gets later on, it gets easier to predict who's getting upgrades and who's not. So that's just a bit of what I think is coming, and that also what we know is coming, and some predictions on players I think are coming in those programs that we already know are coming, like heavyweights and veterans. Although I can't really guess on those, but cards like Mud Heroes, there are some cards that I think are coming. So we will see who all comes in those upcoming promos. So that's all I really got in this first episode of MUTFocus. I hope you all enjoyed, but what I need from you most right now is feedback. What do you think about this? How do you think I did? Did I go on too long? Did I maybe not hit on some certain topics that you wish were on this? Let me know. Give me some feedback. I would definitely appreciate it. It would help me decide on whether this is going to be a thing or not for me in the future, which I hope it can, because this is something I wanted to do for a while. I believe over the years of me playing MUT and all the time I invest into it that I've grown really good knowledge about the game with everything, like with the market, with lineups, just building the team, and all of that. I believe I have enough knowledge, and I want to share that with you guys. So if this has been helpful, again, just let me know. Let me know if you like this, and we'll see if this becomes a thing. So until next week, likely around the same time, I'm Flames, and this has been the MUTFocus podcast.